Hey everyone, episode 25 of the Mid-Geek Crisis is here. My name is Joe, the Afroman.
Pedro, Cautious Online.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hopefully you enjoyed our shorter episode. It was right under an hour, give or take.
Yeah.
We're shooting for around that time frame today as well. We're going to be talking about a few things. Great. We got some great content to talk about. A couple things happened today. A couple things happened.
A lot of fandom news, right? A lot of fandom news.
A lot of things have been going on. We are winding into Avengers Endgame in a week. It's coming up. I'm sure that episode will be a special episode for sure. Let's talk. First thing we're going to talk about here is a lot of good news happened. Started Friday of last week, which was Star Wars Celebration in Chicago kicked off.
A lot of big news came out of Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars is a monolithic franchise. It's one of the three major pillars of the Disney empire now. So we've got Star Wars, Marvel, and then everything that is Disney. And then they've just added
everything that is Disney.
Well,
I mean, like four pillars because they got Pixar and then.
Well, I mean, so like Disney would be like Mickey Mouse, Pixar, all of that. That's the big giant ween in the middle, right? And then all the other ones are like Fox.
This is a family show, everybody.
Yeah. So they've just added technicals to their whole things.
Now
we've got Fox and the purchase that was Fox, which was monolithic as well. And so they've they announced a ton of things, and they started off with Disney Plus, their streaming service that's everyone says that they want and no one wants to pay for, but everyone's going to pay for anyway. Like, let's be honest here.
You know things are going really well for everyone when the number of memes regarding pirating increases online. Like,
I noticed that too.
Like, no one talked about pirating for a while, and now it's like, yar.
Yeah, whatever. Look, I was pirate king for a very long time. I had terabytes upon terabytes.
We all work because we had to be, right?
Yeah, right. It was harder to find content. Digital stuff was harder to find. Ripping your own DVDs, etc., was kind of the way to go. Downloading DVD content, DVD rips, whatever, was just the way to do it back in the early aughts,
if you were
90s. If you were broke. Now, I mean, they're putting up content, and Disney has enticed me. I mean, I can't not pay for it.
The Mandalorian looks great, right? The series they put looks fantastic. I can't dispute.
There's tons of stuff. The Mandalorian. We'll talk about that in 1 minute, but let's talk about what they did release or what they said. First off, it's $6.99, launching in November. So that's, I guess, it's half the price of Netflix at this point, and probably most of the content that you watch on Netflix is on there.
Well, yeah, except I won't get rid of Netflix. So now I'm looking at $22 a month in television.
Is that what it costs? I don't know.
Netflix is like
free for me because they give it to me with my phone plan.
Okay, all right.
T-Mobile gives me Netflix family plan.
Oh, all right. So yeah, so I think it's like 15 or 17. Someone's going to correct me. It might be 18. I think raise it, and I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm going to pay this.
Yeah. I mean, Netflix, they kind of got you by the...
Hard to give up that content.
Hard to give the content, especially with all the stuff that they make now, right? So we've got all the original shows. Half of the major original shows that get announced every other week, people talk about are Netflix originals. Or
more than half, it seems like.
More than half, yeah. So Netflix
is if you tack on Hulu on top of that, you tack on Xbox.
But see, that's the problem. Hulu's going away. Hulu's going away for me. And the reason for that is because Disney owns 61% of Hulu. And so I feel like they're going to start pulling back that content.
How am I going to watch my Brooklyn Nine-Nine? How am I going to watch
How
is my kid going to watch... Oh, I guess all those shows that she watches on there is probably going to be on the Disney Plus channel. Oh, maybe I'll save $5 a month if I just switch from
Hulu. Switch from Hulu to... I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's tons of content that isn't Disney's, but there's a lot of Fox-owned shows that you don't realize was Fox created. Like, there's a lot of shows that air on other channels that belong to Fox. Because, again, it's not about the channel it airs on. It's the production studio that makes it.
Right.
So there's a lot of TV that is on other shows, other channels. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't sign up for CBS just for Star Trek, right? Like, Star Trek wasn't enough of a draw for me. So I guess if Disney has enough franchises to draw me in, then
they do. So they've got all the Disney stuff is going to be on there.
Shut up! I'm trying to save $7 a month.
All of the Star Wars stuff, all the new original Star Wars stuff, all of the cartoons on Disney Channel, all of the old retro Disney Channel stuff, all of the Mickey stuff, all the Disney classics. So
I don't need all
essentially,
that floof. That's
man,
the problem. That like
we got kids. We got kids. My kiddos watch all of that Disney content all the time, whether it's Disney Junior or like any of the other Disney animated shows, plus having access to like Incredibles and all that. And I'm sure your kiddo watches Incredibles and all of that on Netflix when they want to.
Sheriff Callie.
Right, Sheriff Callie. And all of that will be gone from Hulu or gone from Netflix.
She'll watch My Little Pony. She'll watch something else.
Right.
She'll move on to My Little Pony be on Disney. Will just everything be on Disney? I don't even know.
Disney will just absorb them like a...
Maybe she'll finally watch Adventure Time, right? That's Cartoon Network. That's not Disney, is it?
That's not Disney. It's Viacom. So Turner. So, yeah.
Disney doesn't own them yet.
Not yet. Not yet, but the form is coming.
Celebration. Let's not only talk about Disney. Let's
well, that's what started it all, right? So they announced it $6.99 November. A lot of things are coming. Simpsons. You're going to get the entire 30 plus seasons of The Simpsons all ready to go, all loaded up, queued up, fired up. Day one, boom, all The Simpsons. That's amazing in its own. Like being able to just go, I want to watch that random episode of season whatever. Boom, you got it. Like we haven't had that. We've never had that ability, and that seems pretty sweet to me.
I imagine I'm going to do like $7 in like February, watch all the shows I want to watch, and then cancel. Like get like 1 month worth of content in $7
until we see R going, Daddy, can I watch this show? Oh, it's on the. But I had it. I was watching it. It was good. And
listen, I got to teach my kid two things: how to survive and how to be disappointed. That's what dads are supposed to teach.
By the way, that's the motto of our podcast. You didn't know, guys.
How to survive and how to disappoint.
That's also the motto of my marriage.
I want, Daddy. I want. My dad used to say, "How does it feel to want? Enjoy that." And I'd be like, "How does it feel to want?"
And then you collect the tears, right? Because that's what keeps you young. Like I swear, you have less gray than I do in your beard now. I think you just sip them, and like the gray goes.
Yeah, it gets better. It gets better.
It's better.
Delicious. Well, this weekend was a fantastic weekend for collecting tears, actually, considering the amount of people who came out of the woodwork to talk about Rise of the Skywalker, right?
Oh, man.
Delicious.
So, behind the scenes,
into the fandom,
Pedro and me had a weekend-long text back and forth about the Star Wars franchise and the Rise of the Skywalker and whatnot. So, am I a fan of the name? Meh. I'm meh about the name.
I'm confused by the name. It makes no sense.
But I think that's what they planned for. So, besides what their actual reasoning behind the name is, I'm sure there's deeper meaning to it. I'm sure there's all sorts of things that are going to be either released or mentioned or what. Rise of the Skywalker means it's weird considering that the last Skywalker died in the last movie. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Exactly.
Right. And like, no disrespect, Carrie Fisher's dead, so that Skywalker's gone as well, right? I don't think they have many scenes they can put into the film. Right. So I don't know. If Rey turns out to be Skywalker, that's not a spoiler, that's a guess. That would be an interesting play to have that happen in the third act. It's a really weird reveal to put out there in the third act.
It is. A lot of fun things. If you saw the teaser, it looks great. It looks action-packed. It's the first time we see that many of the characters all together. That's one of the things that they talked about at the Star Wars celebration. They said that the last few movies, they've been splitting the party constantly. The first movie was kind of the meeting, and then they split up. Second movie, they were all in different directions, doing random missions. Pedro's favorite casino scene was filmed because of that. And which really slowed down the film, let's be honest here, folks. I've been saying it since day one that it's a terrible scene. Pedro loves it. I keep telling him, guys.
What? Slander. Slander.
But, I keep telling him.
It's a fine scene. What I hate most about it is that, think about it. Think about if this was a D&D adventure, right? What they did was the DM gave the adventurers, they had an idea to win, and then they had an adventure, and at the end of that adventure, they were right back where they fucking started. Like, it wasn't... That whole scene could have been cut from the film, and no one would have noticed because no story development happened from it.
No, let's
except they brought a traitor on board.
let's talk about that for a second, real quick.
What a trash film.
If we're gonna use the comparison of D&D, how many times have you given the party a clear cut direction and they sit there and try to play with the lock for 20 minutes because they think it has way deeper meaning? AKA,
I mean, that's because
the casino scene. They sat there and lingered way too long.
They got there. Well, I mean, imagine if you were a player there and these two people split the party. They landed on the planet. They explored. They released animals. I don't know what the fuck that scene was, right? And then they find the guy that they think could help them. No, they didn't find the guy that they thought could help them. They got thrown in jail, right? And then they find another guy that says they can help them. And then that guy betrays them later. Imagine how mad you would be as a player. Like, hey, I tried all these things.
Of course, look,
garbage, shitty scene.
And I know everyone hates that scene. I know everyone hates it, and I play devil's advocate constantly, either on the show or in life, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. But what I will say is, I like that scene for many reasons. One, I like the character of what's his name? Benicio del Toro, the character, the traitor. He's the one that I like that character. I thought he was a fun
What else is he? I feel like is it Benicio del Toro? No,
yeah.
Was it? All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. I feel like he's a seedy character of the Star Wars universe that we're used to seeing in bounty hunters, but this guy wasn't the roguish good bounty hunter. I mean, this guy was literally a bad guy, and he was like, "This is kind of what I freaking do."
Thanks for the fucking twist.
Right. And then, but what I also liked is the fact that the twist of it all was he kind of goes, "Hey, look, your rebels buy from me. So does the Empire. War is profiteering."
Yeah, but when did that become the theme?
I don't think it was ever the theme, but it definitely shows that. I don't know, man. Like, it's one of those things where
it was a very weird film.
I think what it shows there is that there's good guys and bad guys, and we see it as a clear definition of like black and white, good and bad. But this whole thing, like the whole overarching plot of that movie, I think, was that there is no good and bad. It's been bullshit the whole time. Like, right? Like, don't we realize that even when Rey and when Rey and Kylo kind of team up, like good and bad comes together to like fight the stupidness of it all. Like,
well, one does it for bad reasons,
right? But again,
the other one does it for good reasons. Like, Star Wars has always been about good and evil. It's been about the good force and the bad force.
Right,
literally but built into it is the dark Jedi warriors and the good Jedi warriors.
Right, but I think that's what they've been changing, right? Like, and that's where the old hats are like, we don't want gray Jedi. Gray Jedi cannot. It is counterintuitive to everything we've been taught of. But then that entire movie is all about how they were all fucking wrong. Like, the books and everything. Yoda comes out and burns the freaking tree. And it's like, yeah, it's because we were all fucking wrong. Like, I mean, that's what I got from the movie. It was the idea that, like, all the shit that we've been preaching, we were all wrong. Look where it led us.
They should have spent the entire movie exploring that instead of...
Yeah. No, I get it. That's what I extrapolated from it.
It's good. You really had to...
I don't think I dug
you brought a shovel and a pickaxe, and you really...
I guess, man. I Minecrafted
Rogue One was so much better at it.
Yes. No. Agreed. I like Rogue One better for that particular reason. I think you're right. There was some things that could have done better, but I enjoy the movie. I think if you want to talk about anything that needed to be cut out of that movie was that other, what is it? The other captain, the one that like went and like suicided, the freaking hit the light speed and what's her name? Jurassic Park chick.
Whatever.
Well, you know which one I'm talking about, right? The
Admiral.
The Admiral. Whatever. She was just pointless. They could have just made Carrie Fisher do that and be done with it. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, if you want to do a sacrifice, you would have been like...
they could have done that better. It felt really ham-fisted and clumsy.
Right. That whole scene was meh to me.
And again,
I hate that scene more than I hate the scene.
Imagine if your character you were playing D&D with me, and Poe Dameron was that character, and you treated Poe that way. Like, it was really... Like, listen, I want to critique this from an angle that's very open-minded, and it just wasn't good storytelling.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. I didn't care that it was a woman. I didn't care. It just wasn't good storytelling. It didn't make sense. The characters' motivations were entirely unclear.
Right.
And at the end of it all, if the rebellion, the resistance, had a weapon like that, they would have used it a lot more often. Right.
You mean like the suicide bombing?
Yeah. What do we have droids for if not for suicide bombing? Right? You just put a freaking droid in a pilot ship and destroy a Star Destroyer. Bye. Bye. Like, what? So anyway, it just... I don't know.
I agree.
There were shark jumps multiple times in that film. And it just... Like, if it didn't have the Star Wars halo, I think we'd be treating it like Jupiter Ascending. Right? A really nice costume.
Those are fighting words.
I know, but if it didn't have the lightsaber scenes and the halo of Star Wars around it to protect it...
So the bad parts of that movie, I think, don't make it a stinker to me. I think they just make it a meh part, but the parts that really save it are the end. All the Luke's parts, I think I enjoyed a lot.
The Luke parts were great, but if Luke wasn't Luke and we didn't have Star Wars, how is this different from the ridiculous scenes of Channing Tatum fucking wolf ears? Right? Like, how would this movie... It's terrible. It was a terrible story. Awful. Like Jupiter said, sorry to the Jupiter Ascending fans. I actually hate watching that film for the record, but and I really liked the Wachowskis. So
that said, they announced the teaser for the third one came out, or the ninth official trilogy, third part of the... I don't even know what we're calling
Star Wars, Fast and
Star Wars. The main story arc, the final of this particular saga, the ending of the saga.
I'm excited to be over.
It's it's not over. It's Disney. We're gonna get more.
Have a 10th. They got to finish this and start something new in the Star Wars.
Oh, they will. They will. We're gonna get Adventures of Rey and her kids.
Oh God, no!
They're gonna be on a magical school bus flying around, teaching guys, singing songs, Partridge Family style.
Part 10, more of the Skywalkers. Part 11, rest of the Skywalkers. As long as there's a TIE fighter going and a Jedi jumping over it, we're all going to be happy, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
I know you're going to be there. I'm going to be there.
Throwing money at screens,
I'm going to be texting you like, oh, what are you doing today? Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a premiere of that stupid film, Rise of the whatever.
You're going to go see it for the show.
I'll see it in January, right? It comes out in December.
You'll see it in December.
I only see it a couple weeks later. That's what I do.
I'll buy you the ticket from here and be like, you got tickets for this. Here you go.
I'll rip it live on the screen.
You have to break your phone, son. It'll be digital. It'll be like...
Damn it.
So, yes, that came out. They announced a bunch of other stuff as well. One of the big ones that they announced was the video game. The game that
we talked about this before. Respawn started talking about this game before, how they hadn't announced much.
And there it was. Star Wars: The Fallen Jedi is a game that takes place after Order 66. Is it 66? Is that what the number is?
I guess, yeah. After the Jedi are purged, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows what it is, yes.
86, whatever. I forgot. After the purging, he was a Padawan, I guess, or an apprentice.
Padawan. Padawan. But yes,
Padawan. Padawan, yeah.
Padawan.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Yes, he was definitely a Jedi in training, and he went into hiding. I guess he's just working odd jobs on some random planet, and
staying undercover, trying
to survive. And there's a little mix of rebels, a little mix of you've got Inquisitioners, I guess is what they're called.
There's the Inquisition. It looked it looked like Warhammer 40K kind of, like where it's like they're trying to weed out the chaotic influences amongst the Empire. And
yeah. So it's fun. I think they've got some sort of what it looked like is it's almost like the droids have which I don't know if that's true or not, but it looks like the droids or whoever could sense force. They were force sensitive, so they could tell when someone is either using powers or. At least from the trailer, from what I can extrapolate.
Yeah. I assume they sniffed the midichlorians in the air. And
oh, I gotta hope not.
Such an angry, bitter man, right? It looked great. I don't know that I can get over the fact that it looks like Archie running.
Yeah. We don't have it's the same old. We've got a billion other races in the Star Wars universe, and we still get the typical white guy with dark hair, like the ambiguous white guy, which is so funny because
why not let it customize it? I don't understand why
they will let you. Maybe that's the default character. Maybe it's like that's their shepherd. Then we can choose.
I don't think it is because I was watching some of the interview from the actual show, and the actor that plays that guy seemed pretty excited to have been part of the Star Wars franchise. No disrespect. It's just like in this day and age, why can't we Why can't we have
Look,
characters?
I would have been okay with that. I would have been okay with it if this wasn't the same story we've seen before. Star Wars Unleashed 1 and 2 was.
I thought he was like a dark Jedi, wasn't he?
Well, he is and he isn't, right? So he's a kid. It was during the Vader days, and Vader goes down to destroy a village or whatever, and there's this one kid that's like super force sensitive, and he's like overpowered, and he's doing all these like yelling and breaking shit, whatever. So he takes him and makes him a secret apprentice to fight against the Emperor, because the Sith are always fighting against their own.
And we're always trying to redeem Vader. I get it.
Right. So he turns him that into that, and then he dies at the end of the first game, and then he's a clone of himself in the second game. So whatever. Either way.
Holy shit, that's what Rise of the Skywalker is, right? She's a clone?
Or is that the Emperor?
Are they all clones?
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely.
It was by the middle of the third movie. They were like, it was all a dream.
Yeah, I know. Like
I'm teasing.
Look, there are
no
two.
gameplay.
No gameplay was shown. All CD. Look, there are two big MacGuffins in any sci-fi franchise, and one is clones. Two is time travel.
Not any, like Firefly had neither clones or time travel.
No, but like that's the big like sci-fi MacGuffin, right? Like the one like Deus Ex Machina, the two things that you can do. Like there's a few other smaller ones, but those
Star Wars has a shit ton of clones.
Star Wars is clones. I mean, for God's sake, we have a whole movie called The Clone Wars. It's not like we can't clone Jedis.
Isn't it Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the Clones?
Isn't it Attack of the Clones?
Oh, I'm talking about Attack of the Clones and then Clone Wars. Sorry, I'm talking about
the
series. And that was another thing they announced. They announced the new season, the final season of Clone Wars was shown.
Cool.
So that was
the final season of Clone Wars.
Yeah, so they brought it back. So it was all of that was created pre-Disney, and they kept it as canon. And so Disney decided to go. We're going to end because we never got a final season of that. We never got the moment that Anakin up to the third movie.
That show was like,
it's loved. People love it. I like it.
I know. Like they're like, I feel like every third episode was bad, but the ones that were good were great.
Right.
Like,
it's like
I was like, I can't get through this.
It's kind of like let's say a good one, Adventure Time. Adventure Time is so silly, but in between all of the silliness, there was always the one or two like the overarching story arc that was going on.
That's why I couldn't get through Adventure Time either, because there was too much of the silly ones for me to really get into it.
Yeah.
And Clone Wars just came out at the wrong time for me, I think.
Same way. That was an adult. They came out. I was too busy doing stuff. I couldn't watch it. But Rebels ended, and it was good. And so we're probably going to get some follow up to that at some point in time, just because Rebels is. I mean, that was really good. Good.
Was it good?
Oh yeah,
it's on my list of things to watch with.
Oh yeah, it's good. First season kind of gets there. It's a little slow up till the end of the season, and then after that, you're just like all in, like balls to the wall, good. But you want to watch Clone Wars because Clone Wars takes place before the original movies, and then Rebels takes place between Return of the Jedi.
Star Wars and Empire, right?
Star Wars and before that, because remember Rogue One, like Rogue One time.
That's great. That's the best time for them to make movies. That is a rich, fertile territory to make some great shows.
Yeah, so that's
where The Mandalorian takes place too, right? I mean, it has to take place during that time.
No, I think it takes place during the New Order, like between Return of the Jedi and onward. I think because I got to look back. I might be wrong, but I'm looking at the logos and it looks
so
like
he's not Boba Fett.
I don't think he is Boba Fett. I don't think he is.
No way he could be if that's the case. Good.
Yeah,
good.
He's just a Mandalorian. If I remember correctly, again, correct people are gonna like pitchfork me that do watch our show. The 5 people that watch.
Listen, we're fans. Please don't pitchfork.
It's so much to remember. But if I remember correctly, and I don't know if this is canon or not anymore, just because again, old hat versus Disney.
I thought that like the armor disappeared, and that was Boba Fett.
Well, I remember the armor was Mandalorian, but Boba Fett was not Mandalorian.
Right. He was wearing Mandalorian armor.
He's wearing Mandalorian armor. This show was based on the Mandalorian, aka a person that is a Mandalorian warrior.
Right. No, I get that. Right, because that's like the Emperor's guards are supposed to be Mandalorian too, right? I don't know. Whatever. I'm excited for
Either
that
way, it
show.
looks good. Production value looks good. It looks like they took up.
And she's amazing.
Yeah, no, it looks great. The screenshots have been good. There's a leak video of someone recording it during the thing. I don't know why Disney still does that. Why anyone at any convention still does that. If you're going to show a trailer or a teaser, just put it up online.
You know why?
It hurts their image. It makes them. I mean, it makes the hunt.
The people that are there will crap themselves that the exclusive thing they thought was exclusive wasn't exclusive.
But then everyone that's there wants to film it and show it to the people that aren't there.
But that's part of the fun of getting an exclusive thing. You get to share it, right? That's the dissemination tactic. It'll be a week or two, and then they'll show it. It'll be fine. They got to pitch that $6.99 to me somehow, right?
Right.
Probably going to appear right in my inbox, actually. Like, we know you like Star Wars, buddy. Why don't you pick up some Disney Plus?
Yeah. All right. So Star Wars happened. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Look forward to it. November. We got December. We got Rise of the freaking.
Oh, and what is it? Streaming the Fallen Jedi comes out this year. Like it's like September or
October. November. Yeah. You can pre-order it now. Hold on. The big news, because we've been talking about this. We talk about this a lot. It's our common theme here. EA did announce it is single player, no multiplayer, no microtransactions.
That's great. And the lightsaber you find levels up with you is the rumor, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
That means it's going to have some sort of like a Fable-esque good light side, I assume, as he's one of the last Jedi, right? It's called Fallen Jedi, so should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going
to. I can't wait to play Evil Archie. I can't wait to do it.
I'm very confused when they keep doing this kind of stuff, just because they do it before all of this. So it just makes it seem like obviously the character that you play has no real connection to the actual story. Because if there was a Jedi running around doing anything good or major, we would have heard about it in the major movies, but we didn't. So this is a character that just kind of sets the background tone. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I just when they give me a game, like
it would take place. It would take place before Star Wars.
But let's double check this.
No, you don't have to, because it has to, right? It's soon after Order 66, so it would be and the universe is big enough that maybe. I think about the characters in all of the Star Wars where they act like everything they hear is legends, right? Because they live in the boonies. Tatooine was in the boonies, and these planets that they all grew up on were far away from the center.
Yeah, following Order 66 from the Revenge of the Sith. So it's before Star Wars. Cal is on the ride from the Empire after his Jedi powers on Earth. So it's before A New Hope.
And before Rogue One. Same era, time period.
Yeah, while it will veer off away from the main saga, it still firmly established itself within it. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, we know that Order 66 is established, which effectively aims to wipe out the entire Jedi Order. So so it takes place November 15th is when it comes out on Xbox One.
There were hints of Jedi hiding in Rogue One, right? They never explicitly mention any of them hiding, but there were hints of it. Right?
Oh yeah, I mean, we know that obviously the Jedi Order was big enough and they're smart enough that the galaxy hopefully is big enough that.
I mean, Obi-Wan hid and Yoda hid, two of the most powerful Jedi out there, right?
Right. So it's not to say that these
ones that knew Anakin personally, right? It's not like he couldn't find them.
Right. Well, they were good.
Them personally.
Yeah. Purge troopers.
Purge troopers. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, the second sister assisting the second sister are the terrifying Purge troopers, special Imperial forces trained to seek out Jedi and aid the Inquisitors in their dastardly work.
Inquisitors, God, it's so 40K. I love it.
Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order is being directed by God of War director Stig Assumin. So that's a pretty big one. And again, it's another big deal that we talked about here that EA seems to be falling flat on their faces. This game is not using the Frostbite engine. It is using the Unreal Engine 4.
That's what Respawn knows how to use, right? I mean,
I guess so. I mean, or they could have done what EA normally does and force another studio to use a broken engine.
Respawn does what Respawn wants to do, I think, at this point.
Respawn is like, we made Titanfall.
Yes. And we're doing okay with Apex Legends.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, they're stumbling a little bit. Their last patches have not been well received. So.
Yeah.
Which is rough, man, because Fortnite just keeps putting out new things all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's good to have competition.
So we got some interesting.
Yeah, so let's
developments. You want to talk about?
We're gonna take a quick shift from that because that was fun stuff on our end as big geeks and getting older and just Star Wars.
Looking forward to sharing some of that stuff with our kid, right? I mean,
absolutely,
Disney with the kid probably and things like that.
Let's talk about one of the bigger things that happened in the past couple of days. Again, it's weird news. So was it yesterday? Yesterday, I guess it was. Sony decided to, or I guess it was Wired. Wired had an interview with Mark Cerny, chief engineer for Sony, and in a very candid interview, they were just like, yeah, the next console has got this and this and this and this and this, and they were just like,
definitely not this year,
definitely not this year, but. So that's a big change in the way Sony likes to do things. Sony's like, we don't talk about unannounced hardware. Period. It doesn't exist until it exists. They won't talk about it. It's very weird for the chief engineer of a big company like Sony to just go, by the way, our next console has these features on it. It is like one of the big features that they announced, which is kind of a big deal, was it supports the PlayStation VR, out of the box. You won't need that. I think
not the fact that it supports 8K.
Yeah, 8K. Oh, well, Sony's like numbers and whatnot. So,
do you remember when the Commodore 256 came out and you were like, oh.
they should make their PlayStation 4 Pro actually support 4K properly. They can't here's their Pro model that supposedly supports 4K and half their games don't even run at 4K.
Yeah, I know it slows down whenever I see the puddles in Spider-Man. That's a throwback, kids. That's a throwback.
Yeah, no. So that was a weird bit of news, and then we've talked about how companies are marketing these consoles and marketing their marketing in general, and where we're going with the next generation. This generation feels like not the last generation for consoles, but definitely the market is changing. We've gone digital.
Well, we're gonna have three separate groups, right? And gamers are gonna have to figure out which group they want, or if they can afford all three groups, right?
So here's the thing, right?
Not including PC gamers,
No. I love you guys, but Sony decided to go right off the bat. A, it supports VR, and B, it's backwards compatible with PlayStation 4. Now, and you guys can hold me on this if you listeners have been paying attention. We've been talking about this multiple times, how consoles are no longer going to be the new thing. Your GameCube can't play 64 games right off the bat. You can't shove your 64 console games into your. I get the media change, but it wasn't the same thing. We have been talking here at the Mid-Geek Crisis constantly about how Xbox or Microsoft is doing this whole. We're not about the hardware anymore. We're going to push the hardware, but we're just going to keep pushing the same box and just keep adding more hardware to it, and it'll be the same games, same generation. We're just going to keep moving it. And I think that's where they're going. They're going to keep doing that.
They're going to sell us computers.
They're going to sell us computers. It's computers as consoles. It's the next best thing with more features, but at some point in time, there will be a cutoff, right? So there will be, again, this is just me speculating, but there will be a moment where there will be a game that'll come out that'll just say, hey, you can play this game on your Xbox One X and greater. You can't play it on your Xbox One.
Right.
And so that'll be that cutoff, and then we'll keep moving on forward. And then at some point in time, there will be a moment where it'll be
Xbox One Xbox. I can't wait for that day.
Whatever they're going to be calling it, Xbox One,
Xbox
X,
Xbox, like a triple X,
the triple X, whatever they're going to call it. It'll just be hardware increment, no different than PC requirements. You can't play this game if you don't have this NVIDIA GeForce. Blah blah blah. You don't have 16 gigs of memory. You don't whatever. I mean, that's the way it's going to work. I think that's how they're going to go. Or you're going to be able to play it on some of these older consoles with degraded graphics, only at 1080p, only at whatever, just because that's how it works. That's Microsoft's way. PlayStation hasn't done that, but now it seems like they were like, by the way, guys, it's all backwards compatible, which leads me to believe, again, in that same vein, that Sony is going to go, hey, we're just going to keep releasing. It's just too expensive for them. They're able to create these. Look, I'm going to slow down. We've been able to talk about this constantly on the cost of game development.
Mm-hmm.
Games cost millions and millions of dollars, and they want to return investment on these games. But when in 1 year, Sony can only release 4 major games for their console, 4 first-party games. That's 4 games that it took them for a whole year of their development cycle, and a console only lives for 5 years. Could you imagine a system only having 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 games total? No, it doesn't work that way. There's all sort of third-party games that release games for this. But what I'm saying is, out of those 5 years of a console life, 5 major games get released from first party, give or take, 5 average. And so we've got a total of 25 major titles that came out of Sony Studios out of those 5 games. But those games take a lot of time and effort and money.
Sure.
And so this isn't the days of like many years back where a console developer could release tons of third-party, first-party games in 1 year, 10 games a year. It's that return investment. So being able to have a console that plays those same 25 games 5 years later without having to do remasters, because if you notice, guys, if you've noticed, all of the games released, a lot of the major games released this past few years have been remasters of games that we played on 360 or Xbox or PlayStation 3. Mm-hmm. They've all been ported over to this new hardware with new bells and whistles, new features, whatever.
I mean, we've gotten a lot of new games as well, but yeah, we've gotten a lot of new games.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is we've gotten a lot of rehash. Like a good example is, do you really feel like you want to play your 360 at any point in time?
No, I don't.
No. You know why? Because they keep releasing the same games again. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, look at example, Borderlands. Borderlands 1.
You know what I play on my 360? The Lego games.
Yeah, but they've all been released on the Xbox One now.
I know. I just have a bunch on the 360 that I still own, and I play with the kid. Right. That's
right. Or you just hop on Game Pass, and they're all up for download.
Okay, that's what I do.
Right. That's what you do. They're all 360 versions playing backwards compatibility.
Yep.
AKA a new console playing old games.
Yep.
Sony, PlayStation 5 playing PlayStation 4 titles, and eventually we'll probably play PlayStation 3, whatever. They just need more hardware. Either way.
It's great. They're beating the ROM specialists. They're messing up the retro gamers. Well, they're not retro, I guess, if you're looking at 360. I know the real retro gamers need to play it in the authentic setting, right? They need to play it in their, on the old TV. And all
they want to play it on the original console.
It's a good way to. You're right in that it's a good way to continue to mine your own content, right? It's Netflix's business model where they have all this trash and this long tail. They can always put out the old stuff over again.
Right.
Amazon uses the same thing with their.
They vault it. They vault it for a while. Netflix does the same thing. A movie gets deleted. Wow, where's that movie? I want to watch it. It's gone. And then like 3 months later, it comes back, and all of a sudden there's a resurgence of all these people watching some old 80s movie. I mean, it happens all the time.
They collect your beautiful data, and they recommend all these other movies you never heard of, right? So
yeah.
So it's good. I mean, and Xbox and Microsoft are going towards more of a service base, right? They announced their Blu-ray-less console, which is
that was today. So Microsoft had an insider thing today, and they announced.
It's almost like they might have been responding to the PlayStation announcement, right?
Right.
Like, we've got something too.
And I don't want to say we're pro Microsoft, but we've been what's the best way to put it? We've been certainly surprised at what Microsoft has put out as of the recent.
Here's why I'm pro Microsoft, and you talked about it, right? I have a limited income to invest into games, and the Xbox Pass. And the fact that I already have a community on the Xbox clinched it for me, right? I might have gone back one day and bought a PlayStation 4 because there are some great games on there that I'd love to play. God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us. Those games are gorgeous games that I'm just jealous of, right? But I gotta stick with the Xbox for now because the Pass has made the deal, that service has made it so perfect that there's no reason for me to make a big switch. If I came into $400, like I scratched the lottery ticket, $140, I'd buy a Switch, right? Because I've got the family now, and I'm just not the And like I'm not a casual gamer, but I'm not the pro gamer that requires me to stay on top of the hardware requirements that a PlayStation 5 would offer, right?
Right.
Like, I remember being like, "Oh, the gigabits, got to get all the bits, got to get
all the teraflops."
The teraflops, like, and now like I laugh when people are all like, "My frames per second, blah blah blah." I'm like, who cares, dude? Like, I'm not playing at that level. I'm really not. anymore. I'm lucky if I get like 30 minutes to play at any level, right?
Right.
And the Xbox has made that perfect for me. I mean, I'm trying games I wouldn't have never bought, right? I never would have bought a lot of these games because I just made no sense, and the Xbox Pass has made it easy. I hope PlayStation comes around to that idea and offers some service like that with the library they have, because then the 5 becomes something worth buying, something worth looking at.
Yeah, if the 5, if they listen and see that Microsoft is either gaining steam or really doing well with their Game Pass, expect Sony to copy them. Sony, I don't want to sound anti-Sony here, guys. I really want to like them, but their Game Pass, the way that they do things has always been, hey, let's see what everyone else is doing and copy it. I mean,
it's conservative. They're a conservative company.
They're a conservative company, and they used to be a little more wilder about it all, but it seems like they come out of the gate running, and then they slow down and wait for everyone to catch up, and that's just what they do. And then when they see a good idea, they run with it.
It's because they're a hardware company, right?
They are. Sony's
don't want to take chances on hardware. I mean, they took chances on hardware before, and they lost big, right? So
yeah.
I get it.
So Nintendo, we've talked about this before, is Nintendo's doing their own thing, right? Like they seem like the young hip for such an old company, probably the oldest out of the 3 when it comes down to gaming. Like all 3 of them are relatively new. If we want to talk about the old hat, we had Atari, we had Nintendo, and we had Sega, and Nintendo's the only one left standing out of the old original 3. And
from a console perspective,
yeah, from a console perspective. And so here's Nintendo, still like the old man that's wearing the cool hat, going, "Hey, kiddos, can I buy some, drugs?"
I mean, I think they're fresher than that, but yeah,
they are. No, they totally are. They really are, because they've realized that it's not about...
They got to figure out their price point, though, because there was a time period where I feel like everywhere I walked or everywhere I commuted, I would always see 2 or 3 DS players. I still don't see that with the Switch. They don't have the penetration with the Switch.
I expect a price drop for this holiday season. Yeah. I expect a price drop maybe of this version of it, maybe a Pro version of the Switch. But we've got a lot of stuff that's going to be announced at E3, maybe some crossover.
Like Pokemon didn't even make them blow up on that, right? The Pokemon release didn't make.
But not yet. It's not out yet. So that's
might
right. That's the big one. That's the big one. We'll see more of it at E3.
They haven't had the title to really like bring everyone together to play, and usually
Smash was the one that really shot their sales to the roof.
Smash is a fighting game, man. It's not a good game to play on the commute. It's not a commuter game.
You say that, but I mean, everyone I know carries it around with them.
But everyone drives to work. I'm talking about the trains and the buses. I'm talking about I don't know, the people that I'm with, the people that work for.
I'm wondering what the big city looks like now. I'm wondering what NYC.
There was a time period I saw everyone with a DS. I'd love to know. I'm not down there. Hey, if you're watching this and you're in New York City, let us know. I mean, do you see a lot of folks walking around with the Switches? I don't know that I would feel comfortable walking around with a $350 system. Even though I'm playing on my phone, which is like $600, so I don't know what the difference is, right? But New York City,
you can lock it out.
I've seen people on their iPads on the train. What the hell am I talking about, right? So, I wonder if I'm just missing on the Switch generation down there, which would be amazing, right? That would.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine sitting there and being able to just pull up Switch, and all of a sudden, someone pulls up and you're like, "Hey, let's play some Smash," and you play a round or 2.
Oh my God, they're gonna look at you and be like, "Hey, you want to smash?
You want to smash?" Right.
Oh my! Oh.
Yes, the answer is always yes. Random stranger, yes, I want to smash.
Let's smash right here in the train.
Right here.
That'd be a good advertisement for Nintendo, right? Money in the train. real clean, real keeping in their image there.
Yeah, I mean that's what they ran with. That was their marketing campaign for the one on the Wii U.
Do you think they would look at random? Live is going to be on the Switch, right? That's what.
Yeah. I'm expecting that to happen. I'm expecting some.
Live is going to be on my goddamn phone. I'm going to be playing Xbox games on my phone soon. It's going to be crazy.
Yep.
Apple's going to be thrilled to let me do it because it's going to be in-app cuts. It's going to be great.
Yep. All right, so let's round this episode off with a couple other things here. Let's talk about some home gaming, some actual board gaming and whatnot. We have our buddy Jordan. We've talked about before. He's been on the show. He's actually filled in for Pedro in one episode, and in pictures at PAX and whatnot. And he's got he's going to be a father soon and join us in the wonderful.
If you want to hear him, he's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 on Twitch. His brother, sister, him and his sister are playing Monkey Island. part one right now.
Yeah,
They're playing
yeah.
some retro. They're like big retro gamers, so they're chatting their way through a great show. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 on the Twitch. Brother sister. But yeah, he's got a kid coming. So to celebrate his impending fatherhood, I put together a party for him with a bunch of fathers and uncles and brothers that we know to rock out on Artemis. I've talked about Artemis before. Artemis is the spaceship simulation game. It's like Star Trek. Everyone runs it's a local area network party, so everyone's got to bring their computers over.
So if you're not familiar with it, right, that's exactly what it is. It's,
one person plays the captain, and then you've got helm, weapon, comms, science, engineering. Everyone's got a station, and they all have to listen to the orders. So I really strained the metaphor, right? Because we made Jordan the captain, and he had to pilot a bunch of children fully formed.
So this happened already, right?
Yeah, this happened this past week, and it was a total blast. We had,
how did it go?
It went great. We had 8 dudes come over and play. We had beverages and pizza and food, and we played Artemis for about, I want to say, like 6 hours.
Oh, I'm so
we went from 4 o'clock
jealous.
we went from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We started at difficulty 1 just for a pilot run, and then we went 5, 6, 7, 11, and then back to 6 because we died at 11.
How long did that 11 one last?
Oh, it was like 5 minutes. Like it was like your space stations are getting instantly destroyed, and then like 5 or 6 minutes later, the mission was over.
How was Jordan as captain?
He was good. He was good.
So if you're not familiar with
Jordan's
captain,
like obsessed with doing accents, and it was brutal listening to his accents.
My God.
But it was good. Yeah. So he did an accent, but it was fun. It was fun. He role played his captain really well.
if you're not familiar with how it works, I'll give you a good setup. So each station does control part of the ship, but those stations can't see what's going on in the other stations.
Yep.
So you're very isolated. Think of it like you're in a different room and all you can see.
Well, you're isolated because you're in engineering, man. You always take the engineering seat and you
I
just
love
sit there
engineering.
and stare at the engineering.
I love engineering. My favorite. So it's
I
all
was
about
like-
with
I
engineering.
wanted to
My
play
favorite part is
engineering. I didn't get to play
you're controlling power and impulse. You're like basically
So you're listening. You're listening to everything going on, and you're like, "Oh, we're in phasers. More power to phasers.
more power to phasers, less power
If
to
engineering is doing their job well, no one says anything. But if suddenly like the ship doesn't move very fast, the helm is like, "Where's my maneuverability? What's going on?"
What's going on? More power. I'm trying. I just can't do it, Captain.
It's good, and then you take hits. It's fun. At every point in the game, we all took turns sort of sabotaging the captain's orders, right? Like we just all had fun, like messing up Jordan's elaborate plan.
So I haven't played Artemis in probably since the last time we played it, which when we looked,
10,000 years
pictures showed up 10,000 years ago. God, like 5 years ago. How much has changed? Has it been updated? Is there like
So there's like 5. I want to say there's like 4 different ships for the Federation or whatever they call themselves, and then they added like pirate vessels that you can fly now, and they added PvP, so now you can have ships fight ships if you want to play PvP. Get a bunch of fleets together. The missions are a little bit more elaborate, so they're still fetch quests, but they're a little bit more elaborate sometimes. There's now
graphical upgrade? No.
Here's the charm of it, right? So I went and bought a new license for 6 players because I had one before, maybe like 6 years ago when I bought it with us, and then I bought it again because I was like, I think I'm up to like 12 people now. So I bought another license, and I ran it on my Windows Vista machine. Like I have an old Inspiron laptop, like a Dell 1550. Battery doesn't work. It creaks if I think about opening Chrome, but it runs.
But what
Artemis.
it can do is it runs Artemis.
It ran Artemis better than the Alienware computer. That was like, where are the graphics? What am I supposed to do with these polygons? What is this nonsense?
These vector graphics and text. Yeah.
But it's perfect when you've got we had
Anyone run it on their iPad or anything like that?
So that's one of the problems. The iPad version hasn't been updated since 2.4. So
come on.
I got 2.7. Yeah, they added fighters, which are extremely hard to fly, but they're like goofy fun. It's good. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. A bunch of different kinds.
Does that mean that one player can play a fighter and then
so you can depending on which ship you can have 3. There's even a carrier, so you can have 5 players playing fighters, and they all launch. And they're like Vipers, essentially, right? So
yeah, Battlestar Galactica style.
Yeah, they've got yaws, and they can fire missiles, and then they got to come back and refuel and things like that.
And that's what's fun. If I remember correctly, Artemis has you can do light speed, or you can fold.
You can do jump. You can do the jump drive. We did not play the jump drive. We only did warp. I was afraid that if we tried the jump drive, everyone would try to solve the riddle of the jump drive. Right? That's That's advanced play.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that. I like being able to just go like it, and then you just like pop into a new location. All of a sudden, oh shit!
All the shit's like shields. All the alarms are going off.
Yeah, no, man. So this game predates all of these other ones. There's tons of games that kind of do that now. There's the Star Trek VR. What is it called again? VR Star Trek.
Bridge officer.
Bridge crew or bridge. Yeah. There's that. It's that game without the graphics. It's that. I mean,
and without the VR. I don't know if that game can be played without the VR, but without the huge capital investment. Like seriously, this game ran on my buddy's university laptop. Like no need for a graphics card, no need for anything. So that's what I like about it. You can, first of all, you could buy the license for $40 DRM free. Which who does that anymore, right? Or you could buy it on Steam for like $5 for one license, and all of your buddies own laptops, right? Everyone's got a gaming laptop or a work laptop, and they can all play it. I have it on a USB drive, 2.7 gigs, done, installed. Let's play. And it was easy. You know what they added? So remember you had to type in the actual IP address for the server and connect?
They now searches.
Yeah, now if you're on the same network, it actually finds the server and you can connect.
Oh my God, that's how advanced this game is, folks. It's like the most basic of, but let me tell you.
That's a real quality of life thing because now you know you're on the correct, like one of the things that would happen is that if you're not on the right wireless, you wouldn't ever see the server and it wouldn't connect and blah, blah, blah. So old school local area network problems, right? So
right.
This is, it's great. It was, so I mean, we had a blast. We had people who didn't play video games play and had a great time and people who played video games. Everyone got it by the end. It was we all were laughing, and it's great. I highly recommend it. I recommend it for parties. I recommend it for everything. It's just team building sessions. Get everyone's work laptops together.
It is a really good team building session. I should totally do that at work.
It's a good goofy way. Yeah,
load it up and be like, all right, let's do this. As I'm a trainer at my job, so
yeah, and this is an excellent way to get people to understand training and why it's important that leaders know what everyone's doing, right? Like the best captains know what each station can do, right? Jordan didn't really know what each station could do, so he had a lot of questions and couldn't figure out. So when I was doing things like, we could fly in the middle, drop the mines, and fly back out, he's like, what? Like I just knew how to do that stuff, right? So you can also go up and down in Artemis, which is
Oh, that's right. It's not just the X.
It used to just be the Star Trek level plane, and then now you can go up and down, which is great.
Is that new?
Yeah, it was like added in like 2.4, I think, but then 2.7 made it a little more.
So now it's a cube.
Kind of, yeah.
So the map is like a giant cube, and so
there's definitely an upper limit and a lower limit you can go into. It becomes real complicated for the fighters because they're real small, so you can't. Sometimes the fighter can't find his way back home. That's always a pain in the ass.
There should be like homing beacon, go home.
There is, but even then, your fighter's like, if you don't know how to fly your fighter, anyway, it was a good time. Good times were had. Good. Everyone got together. Jordan really appreciated the party. He had a blast, so it's good. We also had the kickoff D&D session this Sunday. So I played games all weekend. I did Artemis on Saturday and then D&D on Sunday. So we kicked off our final arc because Jordan's in my group, and of course the baby's coming in. Although he doesn't think it's going to impact his life, I know it will. So I'm trying to wrap up this campaign before the baby gets you, because then you're on like permanent hiatus until he finds a day. All right, so at least for the first couple weeks. So we kicked off that arc.
So D&D hasn't kicked off on my homebound yet. It will soon. So,
oh yeah, get it together. But now that you got that nice Dwarven Forge terrain, man, you gotta plan a fight in that little tiny space, that little tiny tease.
Oh God! I don't even. Should I have never won it? I should have never won it. I mean,
too much, guys. Here's the deal. Here's my question. Right, we only have a couple more minutes. It's gorgeous, right?
It's gorgeous,
and it's beautiful owning it, right?
Yes.
And okay, so last question. It's painted, right?
Yes.
Remember when we had the discussion? You were like, "Oh, paint the terrain, whatever. Buy the non-painted and then paint it yourself." It's a big difference, right? Like now, you can 3D print stuff and paint it yourself, but you don't do it. Now that you've got this beautifully painted terrain, why would you go back? It's beautiful.
So let me tell you, I agree with you, but you might be feeling that way because you bought way bigger sets with so much.
I'm not trying to justify my price. I'm just saying.
No. I'm just saying this particular beginner set, whatever they sell it at, is well painted. There are some mismatch parts on it that kind of like drive my OCD a little bit, but I'm okay with it. Like there's certain like the corners were definitely from a different set than like everything else, and so
Yeah, they have like 2 different dungeon sets.
yeah, so they're definitely 2 different sets. But all in all, it fits together. If you're not really looking and nitpicking, you won't notice the difference. But you will, if you are, you'll notice that some of them are like a grayish brown, and some of them are brownish green. And so like there's
There's been many an OCD nerd rip and rend their shirts about it. I'm like, guys, like there are production differences. Also, dungeon walls might be differently colored.
Right. Again, that's not it. What bugs me about this set is it's really tiny, and not because I don't appreciate what I won. It's just that if anyone bought this, you would have to buy way more stuff. It just because I would probably if I bought this again, like if this was my money, I don't know how much it's like $45 or whatever I think is what it costs. I have to look online. I would buy like 3 of them.
I was going to say a minimum buy-in for Dover Forged Terrain and is about $150 to $200.
Yeah,
That's
so $150 would be like 3 of these sets.
Epic encounter. It's not a dungeon. You're not setting up a dungeon by any means. You're setting up the boss fight,
room,
or the entrance. Fight. Like you're setting up an epic encounter, and that's
all you're getting out of this.
To
set up a whole table, it's thousands of dollars at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean the setup that they had at PAX East, which you can go online and check the pictures. That was probably, let me see, the serpent rooms that they had twisted. That was an $800 set. Half of the lava bridge set, that was a $1,400 set. The lava bridge, and then the castles themselves are probably $500, $600, $700 each, and then the city over there was, yeah, it's not a. It's definitely a boutique item, right? It's definitely for the boutique.
I will say that, like every good drug dealer, the first hit is free, and this is
good. That first hit is good.
First hit. It was definitely a half hit for me. It was like, what? Where's the rest? I need more. So it definitely makes your minis look like crap if they're not painted.
Yep.
Not matching.
It always makes me upset when some of my minis aren't painted. But
right,
playing on amazing terrain. Right?
Yeah. So I will post pictures of it. I've got a few of them. I took a couple pictures and I set up a little room just to kind of get the feel. I want to put some villains in there. I want to get some play. I've got some ideas for my campaign coming up soon. I will hopefully take some pictures. I've been tinkering with all sorts of stuff, so it'll get.
You got to 3D print some terrain and put it next to it.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, like, use one of the things people don't do a good job of is using negative space. Like, you don't need everything walled in. You can make your rooms bigger by just using the flat floors as actual corridors, right? It's actually easier to play if you don't wall everything in, have some open walls, and just tell the players that there's walls there, right? This way, you get more space. Visually, it's easier to play because people can see there's not corners where monsters get stuck and things like that. So,
right.
There's some pretty cool setups online where people use negative space to extend their limited collection much further.
Yeah, that as well. There's something I've been working on. I found an old kitchen table. I have cut a hole in it.
Are you putting a TV in it?
Maybe. Spoilers.
That's awesome.
So that'll be coming up soon. I figured I was going to do like a cheap gaming table and see how that comes out, and maybe I can try something.
So do you have to buy a special TV? Because aren't they designed to have the heat go out the back? Wouldn't having them down? No? All right.
No.
They won't be on that long enough to overheat, right?
No, they're not. And, I know people, I'm not saying that they're expensive or anything. I'm just saying 32-inch TVs are like $99. Like there's
fucking daddy money bags over there.
I know. I don't want to make it sound like I've got tons of money. Like, by all means, I'm just saying like $99 for 32 inches is pretty magical. And,
no, it's a good price. And you could probably find a used one for 50, right, or 40.
Right. You can find cheap. We go to whatever, but there's all sorts of systems out there. There's the Steam has got like the dungeon maker software, and you can like make rooms and whatnot, and put the fog of war and cover things up. So
that's pretty cool. I can't wait to see it in action.
I'm going to try it out. Hopefully, I have it done in the next weekend or so. The tables are even cut. I'm going to add the bracket and that bad boy right there. That 40-inch. 40-inch.
The funeral urn. Oh, you're doing the 40-inch TV? I got it. I see it.
That one will be mounted underneath the TV.
Awesome.
The table. And it's going to be a small, cramped table, but I feel like once you have the TV under there, the final look is the TV under it, and then a piece of Lexan on top of it.
I was going to say, I can't wait for one of your idiot youngins
scratch,
knock over a glass, or we're like.
Yeah. So that's the final bit. But once I get that set up, I mean, I can always move the TV or remove it or whatever, but the TV will have a big hole. Like, again,
great. I love it, dude. I can't wait to see it.
An idea. But I want to get that done. And just as a cheapo kind of game table, just to see if anyone can do it, just find an old, people get rid of the dining room tables all the time. I got this one at a garage sale.
There's tons of homemade television game tables online. You can find an easy do-it-yourself guide, right?
Right.
Hundreds of them.
I think this will add some value, and if I can get the
you need to find a place to put this table. Where are you putting the table?
The legs come off of the table, so I think I'm going to set it up for game night, and then I'm just move the table.
Dude, if you design it right with like scrolls around the wooden frame, you can actually just hang it back on the wall, right? And you can use this TV and bring it back down and put it back up.
Yeah, I could
totally be like a decorative piece.
Decorative table.
That's pretty sweet. So yeah, good projects.
That's coming up soon, guys. So again, I think that's time, guys.
Good show, yeah.
Guys, again, like, subscribe, comment. If you guys, let's get some discussion going. I keep saying that. I want to hear what you guys think. Did you guys like Star Wars? The Last Jedi?
I liked it. I mean, like, I'll bitch about it because I like critiquing things, but I mean, it looks good. It looks fun.
Are you excited for Endgame, guys? No spoilers, folks. Keep an eye out. There's spoilers out there.
Is there? I haven't seen any.
There is. There was.
I don't care anyway.
I know you don't care, but there was a very bad. I think some sort of site was allowed to watch
the film. Right? There was all sorts of leaks out there.
4-minute video off of a phone that released some bad stuff. I haven't seen it. It hasn't been spoiled to me, but I'm just saying. Keep an eye out.
Just don't click any Avengers links.
People love to be trolls. Snape kills Dumbledore. Is happening. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So people are jackasses. So stay clear.
And when they are jackasses, here's the trick: don't acknowledge it. Don't let it get to you. Just move on with your day. Because if you acknowledge it, they get their feeds. They drink up your tears, and they get
like, yes, I ruined this guy's day.
Now my day's better because my day was horrible. Right. Anyway.
Yeah. So guys, keep an eye out. Next week's episode, we'll be talking. We'll be getting closer and closer to Endgame there. All right. So subscribe. Music by Heretofore. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Just take care of each other.
All right. Love you guys. Episode 25 in the can. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks.